So like I said, I'm Mrs. Dieterholm and this is Algebra 2. First semester, the first part of it is going to feel like, hey, I already know all this math. You know, I did this when I was in Expo. And that's great because that's how it should feel. And then we start getting to some of the new stuff. And like I mentioned, for many of you, it'll be the hardest math class you've ever taken. And that's because it really is, we could call it MCA and ACT prep instead of calling it Algebra 2. I mean, everything we do in here is geared towards getting you ready for those tests. So the first thing we have to do, if you've got your Chromebooks out, everybody's got them going. Oh, St. Mason, you came in a little late. So get to the Schoology page. And the first thing we're going to do is get those textbooks in here. And that'll be under Classroom Textbook Information, yellow folder. I always put the fine report in there so that if something happens to your book, you'll be expecting, whatever it is that happened. And then we're going to register those books, so Algebra 2 book registration. You'll go in there. And then you'll just fill out everything that it has for you. So, first name, last name. This is Algebra 2, so that's the class you signed up for. I'm Mrs. Cederholm, so I'm your first semester teacher. And I don't know if you have your schedule next to you there, but if you have your second semester teacher and you know who that is, please fill that out. There are 3 of us. It's me, Mrs. Peterson, and Mr. Michener. Your book number is located inside the front cover, usually in a little oval, white oval. It should be 5 numbers. And then this is where you need to take some time today and write down all the stuff that's wrong with the book that you just got. Almost all of them are used. I know we have a couple of pretty perfect looking ones in there like they've never been used before, but check the corners. And are they bent? That's the first thing. If they are, type in corners bent. If you can see white on those corners, type that down. They're supposed to be black, but they're starting to rub, and so the cardboard that's underneath is showing through. Then the big finds come from the binding, and the binding is right where the pages meet the book, like down the middle there. So check and make sure that that's all sitting in there like it's supposed to be. Nothing's popping up, giving you too much space. And then you can check for water damage, and how you do that is you just look at the side of the book, and if it looks like the pages are wavy, that's water damage. Yeah, it only does that wavy thing if there's water damage in there. And while you're at it, you can check and see, did somebody write on the sides of the pages? Is there writing there? Maybe it's dirty because they had a dirty backpack they put it in. And those are all the things you don't want to be responsible for. As I mentioned, the big one is the binding, So check out that middle portion of the book and make sure none of those pages look like they're going to flop out at any given time. I'm just going to stop recording. Make sure you can find everything. I guess I should ask, is there anybody that can't get onto the main page in Schoology? I think I saw everybody doing the book sign-in. Boy, that'd be a bummer if you didn't have the Schoology information and you weren't in there. You're not going to be able to do a lot of anything. So, back to the main page. And the first thing we're going to do is read this little daily steps for success. This gives you what we should be doing, how we should be doing it, so that you can get marked present for the class and you can get the points for it. Uh-oh, mine just says there's an error there. Let's try again. Uh-oh. There it goes. Did it open up nice for you guys? Oh, ornery thing. All right, so we found the file that has the daily steps to take for success. Always use your school email account, that isd@isd.728.org, because your personal accounts will not open up Google accounts and those types of things. So use your school account. Check for Schoology updates every day. If I have to change something, that's where you're going to find it. It'll be in a Schoology update. So find the file with the daily learning calendar. Well, since I had so much trouble loading that up, I think I'm going to keep that one open. Daily learning calendar. Let's see. Course information syllabus that has the rules. Oh, there it is. Daily calendar of work to complete in the pink. So here's the syllabus. If we have time, we'll run through that today. We should at least be able to talk about it a little bit. But this is the biggie. Algebra 2 daily calendar for all students. Chapter 1. Dates tell us September 8th. Hey, this is the right one. Go into the file and, oh, look at that, a nice little table that says, here's the date, here's what you need to do. So, like it says, subject to change, you know, we don't know exactly what's going on, and we're hoping that we can all be back here, but there might be an outbreak and we have to go totally from home. So, today's assignment is simply watch the welcome video, which you will not have to do because you are here listening to me give you the welcome. And then tomorrow, you'll do the video lesson and homework for section 1-3, day 1. So let's pretend it's tomorrow. You're home by yourself. Video lesson and homework for section 1-3, day 1. I better try and find that. Let's see. 1-3, day 1. Where would I find the video lesson? Probably in daily lesson videos, and that's where we need to go. Now, some of these were made before I had this fancy microphone and headset. 90% of my students said they were okay, I could hear everything. But some of you have bad audio in your Chromebook, and so when you listen to a video, there's kind of a grinding thing in the background. So what's going to happen is, you can always watch the older ones if you want to, but if you're gone or you're doing your distance learning, I will re-record this hour, third hour every day, and then I will be able to download that during my lunch. So sometime around 11 o'clock, the new video will be up, and it'll have good audio because now I do have a microphone. So it's up to you. These, like I said, 90% of the students said old videos were just fine. Cedar Home, I could make out what I needed. But if it bothers you, and some people that really does drive them crazy, then use the updated one each day. So, pardon me. All right, everybody. So first question that might come up is, why are we starting with section 1-3? Because there's a lot of repetition in 1-1 and 1-2 from things that you've already done for 2 years in other math classes. So we're just going to
My computer's being hinky.
and not waste time on those pieces. They're things you already
Well, fine.
know. Anyway, so you watch the video lesson. And at the end of the video lesson, some days there'll be an assignment. 1-3, day 1 does not have an assignment because I'm going to have you do all of it at the end of 1-3, day 2. So you watch this. There's an assignment at the end. We have changed the assignments, which is good news for you guys over the last couple of years. We've taken off several problems. So if you just do the assignment that's listed on the video, you're probably doing more than you need to do. So how do I know which assignment I should do and what pages? Well, you can always go on campus. I'm going to have those assignments posted every day on campus, but there's another place that students really like, and that is down here in this blue folder, because this is where you're going to turn your assignment in. And notice, look at that. All the numbers you need to do are right there. So most people will use this to get the assignment. So now you have the assignment. Let's go back to that steps to take for success. You went to the daily learning calendar, and if there is a worksheet or a handout and I gave it to you in class but you don't have it anymore, the black folders will have all of those in there, and yes, you'll have to print them out from home, but at least you'll have them. So there's digital copies of graph paper, there's digital copies of the worksheets and handouts that I've given you. Remember I said that blue sheet, sometimes people lose that because it's so little and it flies off. Here it is right here, you know. So even if you do lose one of those, it's in here somewhere and you'll be able to find it, usually in those digital copies. Alrighty, so we went to the daily lesson videos, that's step 2. Found it, watched the lesson. At the end of the lesson, go down to the blue file and write down the assignment. And like I said, they'll also be on campus student portal. It's 2 places to check. Now, once you have your completed assignment, I'm not taking any papers this year by hand. They all have to be put into Schoology. That's another one of the safety things. So all of your assignments have to be submitted through Schoology. So let's see here. I have done my assignment. I checked that blue folder and I saw exactly what the answers were. And number 4 says check your answers. For Algebra 2, the odd answers are in the back of the book. Well, what about the evens? The even answers are in the white folder labeled even answers to the homework for chapter whatever it is. All right. So if I go back, I want to find those answers. Oh, there it is, right there. Now I notice there's another white file. This one is daily completed lesson notes. So every day after I record the lesson, I'm also going to post a copy of the notes that we took that day. So not only can you fast forward and rewind through the videos if you miss something, you can also use these completed note packets to make sure you didn't miss anything when you're going through there. Alrighty, did our homework. Want to check the answers. And we notice that's all that's there. There's no work. Nope, because I don't want people copying stuff down. You have to show your work to get credit. So if I go into Schoology and it says you submitted, and I take a look at your paper and all I see is this, you're going to get an email that says, do it again. The only way that I know you've done the work is by showing your work. Now, let's say you did something goofy and on 43 you were supposed to get 10, you got 9. You look back at it and you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I see where my mistake is. Should have been 10. Then fix it. But let's say 47, you didn't get 5x squared over 2, and you can't figure out how that answer came to be. Well, then what you do is you go back to the main page, and you go down to frequently asked questions, homework for chapter 1. I have been teaching Algebra 2 for, oh my goodness, 22 years now. People ask for the same problems all the time. So eventually I said, well, instead of doing this all the time, why don't I just make some videos? So when people have trouble with them, they can just watch the video, and then they'll know what to do. And that's what I did. So you go into the frequently asked questions, and we're not doing a section 1-1, but there's a video.
These are the frequently asked questions for Algebra 2 for section 1.
And again, Those are made. Now, I don't do every single problem on the FAQ videos, the frequently asked question videos, but chances are pretty good that I did the one before the one you need or the one after the one you need if I'm not doing the exact one that you need. So watch the videos around it and you'll be able to figure out how to do those problems. If you can't, that's what Friday is for, everybody. We're here all day for Google Meets and all that kind of stuff. So if you can't figure out a problem, email me and we'll set up a time for a Google Meet. Here's why. One of the things I've spent a lot of time studying as I became a teacher is brain research. Brain research tells us, you sit here and listen to me yapping, all the information goes right behind your forehead here to your short-term memory. If I give you homework, meaningful homework that has it make sense, that information transfers to your hippocampus, which is your long-term memory. That's where we want it to go, but we want it to go in there correct. If you do a whole bunch of homework and you do them all wrong, now in your long-term memory, there's this process of doing everything wrong. And it can take up to 19 times of seeing somebody do something the right way to get it out of your long-term memory. So I don't want that. I want you to get it right, fix it, and then put it into your long-term memory. That's why I go through this whole process with the homework and the FAQs. So make sure it's going in your long-term memory as correct information. All right, so now back to the success, daily steps for success. Checked our answers. If we got any wrong, we went to the FAQs and we fixed them. And now it's time to submit, because you guys heard about the attendance policy where you go in and you do the little check-in thing, right? That's not enough in math. In math, we have to get a product from you in order to mark you present. That product is your homework. So if you want to get credit for being here, even though you're not here because you're working at home, then I have to get your assignment. So what you have to do is take a clear photo of your assignment. And this is going to be different depending on what kind of computer you use. Apple is really super easy for taking pictures. Your Chromebook takes pictures. You can use your Chromebook. You can use your phone as long as you can find the file once you put it in. So let me show you what I mean. I would, on my Apple, go to this little thing called Photo Booth, because that's how you take pictures with your computer on Apple. And then I hold my homework up here close to the little camera, and I make sure that everything can be seen. And then I let it take a picture. Hi, Mom. And now I go to that picture. This picture is still in Photo Booth. And Photo Booth is not something that I can access and put into Schoology. So I find this little upload button. And it doesn't matter what kind of computer you use, there's going to be a button that says upload. So I upload this, and it shows me all the places it could put my picture. Well, I just want it in photos because, you know, that sounds like a good place to find a picture. So my Photo Booth is now done because my picture has been put in Photo App. So I go to Photos App. There's my picture. And with an Apple, all I have to do is drag and drop over on my desktop. And now it'll be really easy to find that when I have to put it into Schoology. So how do I put it into Schoology? Well, that's what the blue file was for. Turn in your completed assignments. And again, you double check that you did all the problems. Click into that. And here's where things are different because mine's the teacher version. When you guys do this, you're going to see a little thing that says, you know, submit work here, blah, blah, blah. But with the teacher version, this is all I see. So you'll be able to do submit, and then you'll be able to upload your picture that you have on your desktop and send it to me. Now, Schoology is going to say, successful submission in Schoology. Sometimes it lies. You know that from last spring, right? Sometimes Schoology has some hiccups. Okay, so you want to check your email every day because it tells you, yeah, it's in there, it's great. And I look at it and it's not there because your photo didn't come through. So I'm going to email you and say, could you just take a second, please, and just email me the photos for this assignment? But everything else should be going into Schoology right here. So now we have our wonderful work in Schoology. We took our picture, and you will be marked present. When I see that you did that, you've successfully shown work and your assignment is done by 1:30 each day. So the only assignment you have today is the welcome. But tomorrow, the assignment is 1-3 day 1. The next day, it's 1-3 day 2. So whatever you have the following day, if you get that into me by 1:30 in the afternoon, you'll be marked present. And that's because I have 6-hour prep. So if you get it to me by 1:30, then I can go in and make sure that you've done what you needed to do. So on normal days, you'll go through that process, and then you'll go back up and you'll repeat the whole thing. Now, on test days, this is where things get weird because you guys aren't here every day. On test days, you're still going to submit any of your homework, even if it's late, and you're going to submit the review for the test into Schoology, and then, this stuff is for distance learners, so let's go down here a bit. You want to have a graphing calculator. That's one of the things we'll talk about when we get to the syllabus here. A TI-84 Plus is the best calculator to have. It's user-friendly. It's going to help you out not only in this class, but any other math classes you take and the MCAs and the ACTs. So a TI-84 Plus. We will not be taking our tests on Schoology. We will take them in here. Serum, we have a Monday test. We're not here until Tuesday. Then you'll take it on Tuesday. Yeah, as soon as you're here after the test date, we'll take it in class. So you won't need to follow these directions here because that's our distance learners. And you're going to want to show your work because that's how you get points. Each step of showing correct works is going to get you points. And then we move on to the next section the next day. So those are our daily steps for success. Now, as we go through this, right here, course information syllabus rules, that's the next thing we're going to talk about. That's going to be the syllabus piece. But this is where that daily calendar is. And there's your digital copies. And everything else on here, we've talked about where it is and how you use it. So now I want to go back to that syllabus. And that one, I think I gave you a pink one. Yeah, pink handout. This is the syllabus. All right, so the information on here is telling you how you're going to earn your grades. So you have your Algebra 2 textbook. My advice would be take that home and leave it there because we do have online access for this book. Why lug that big heavy math book to and from when you've got a Chromebook with you every day anyway? So when you're at home, put that Algebra 2 book down, use that at home all the time. When you're here, if we have work time in class, you can always just take your Chromebook out and use the online book. So that way you're not lugging a really heavy book around all over the place. You need a notebook, got to have some paper to do your assignments on. A folder or a binder, especially this year because you're going to get a lot of handouts and you want to keep track of those. We also give you note packets. You don't just take your own notes, so those note packets, having those in a binder is helpful. Pencils, because whenever we take a test, we're going to use pencils because it's math. Highlighters or even colored pencils will be helpful. Sometimes we put more than one graph on the same axis, and we want to be able to tell the difference between them and how they moved, so that helps you out. And then the graphing calculator, like I said, a TI-84 Plus is the preferred calculator because that's the one I use. We've been talking today in my pre-calculus classes about how Pine Technical College, which is where they're going to take their college pre-calculus class, it's $175 on average per credit. You earn 5 credits in that class. So basically, they're going to get $875 free worth of education by passing pre-calculus. So up there on the TV is where my TI-84 is going to display. And it is the most user-friendly graphing calculator that's on the market. And that's the reason that it gets chosen by probably a good 80% of all schools in the United States. It's a really good calculator. So if you can get your own, do. I do have, I think, 8 of them for classroom use that can't leave here. But if you can get a graphing calculator, then get a graphing calculator. Textbook, like I said, take it home, set it someplace where it's not gonna get dripped on or whatever, because you're responsible for damage. Participation, yeah, does not so much this year, because I only see you 2 days out of every week, but I kind of use that as my guide to, at the end of the semester, you've got an A minus, but boy, oh boy, did you ever help out in class. You're constantly asking and answering questions. When we were able to work with others, you were really, really helpful to those people. Then I leave myself enough room to give you a bump with the participation points, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And then school policy, no personal use of cell phones. Unfortunately, I already saw a couple of people using those. I'm pretty eagle-eyed when it comes to the phone. So remember, when we're in here, you only get me 2 days out of every week. You need to be focused on what's going on up here. You can take your phone now to go to the bathroom because they're going to do the e-hall pass for that, and most people will use their phone instead of carrying their Chromebook around to go to the bathroom. Attendance policy. If you don't come to school, you just can't be successful. I mean, especially when you only see me 2 days out of every week. If it's one of your days and you're not ill, be here. When you're absent, I'm going to have all kinds of stuff on Schoology. You'll be able to see exactly what you missed and be able to go through that. If you missed a test or a quiz, then we got to talk, because we'll have to figure out, what are we going to do given that I only see you 2 days out of every week? How do we get that test made up? And then no cheating, pretty obviously, no skipping, all that good stuff. Passes, that one is different now because there's no clipboard anymore. It's all the e-hall pass that you're going to use for that. You do need to wait until the lesson is over, or come up and see me, when passing time is still happening, and say, is it okay if I run to the bathroom before class starts? Because I'm not going to let you leave the lesson unless it's one of those passes that you don't want to get, which is, it used to be the red ones from the school office. And they're going to come onto your e-hall pass, and you're going to go, oh, this says now, then just come up and show it to me, and then you can go take care of business. Daily work, those are the assignments, and this is the part I talked about where just checking in is not enough. You have to do the assignment in order to be marked present for the day. All your work has to be shown in order to receive credit, pretty obviously, because I give you the answers. I mean, they're right online, so you want to make sure that you're showing your work. And you get a 2 for anything that's completed, neat, and turned in on time. Should be setting aside time every day to do your math. Quizzes. I don't think we had any quizzes last year in here. And that's because we don't do a full chapter at a time. We do like 3 sections, and then we stop and take a test. And do 3 or 4 sections, and then we stop and take another test. So there really isn't much time for little quiz thingies in there. If it is, it'll go into your homework grade with just 20% of your grade. Tests are all announced in advance. You can see the daily calendar when we're supposed to give those. You use pencils on the test and exam. I don't know. I don't think we're going to be able to give you the end of semester exam. We'll wait and see. The district tells us when we have to give that, so we'll see if we have time. Can't have any cell phones, smartphones, smartwatches, any of that kind of stuff, any electronic stuff on the days that we take the tests. Tests account for 80% of your grade. Retesting policy. Well, first things first, The very last test that we take in first semester, you cannot do a retake on. And that's because there's no time for you to do that in addition to the final, if we end up giving the final. So that one is not eligible for a retake. It's best to just study in advance for what you're going to take on the test and do the best you can. But students will have anywhere from a week and a half to 2 weeks to retake a test. I'll be putting deadlines up here on the front board. No exceptions for those due dates. They're there, and unless there's something extremely strange that happens, this year's going to be different. You know, if somebody gets COVID, then we've got to talk about what are the special circumstances, those types of things. So plan your time wisely. All assignments have to be turned in for the entire chapter in order for you to be eligible for a retake. Then you come in and we go over some problems, some remedial materials to make sure you understand what you did wrong. And then you get a packet that you need to do to get some more practice. And then you can come in another night to do the retake. And the higher of the two scores that you'll have, the original and the retake, will be posted in campus. No cheating, don't do it. You don't want a 0 on anything that we're working on here. If you're struggling, boy, we got to cross off some of these, don't we? Obviously, don't wait until the end of the chapter. You know, email me and we can do Google Meets on Friday. We're not doing elk time because we can't right now. Ask questions in class. Use the internet resources that are available for your book. Use the resources that are on Schoology. Read and study your book and notes. Get involved with other students in a study group. Yeah, you could do a little Zoom group, you know, with some people. That would be good. And then seek help from me. Usually after school works much better because after school we have a little bit more time. In the morning, not so much so. So that is the course expectations, which really are the syllabus. Anybody have any questions about anything? 80% for tests, 20% for homework and quizzes. All right, so I suppose tuck that somewhere so you don't lose any of that good stuff. And remember that daily calendar is where you're going to look for everything. How are we doing? 10:49. All right, so just a few quick things about me. Like I said, I've been teaching a long time. The way I got here is hard work. I mean, it really is. I grew up on a dairy farm, dirt poor farmers. I mean, my folks were really dirt poor farmers, and they told us, get an education, go to college, get into something where, you know, things will go better than they have been going here on the farm. And had to skip lots of this. I was in the Air Force, by the way. Everything that's gone on in my life, you know, I've had choices because of the fact that I've worked really hard in high school. When I went into the Air Force, I got to pick what my job was going to be because of my score on the ASVAB. So you need to know this. I have hearing aids in both ears. This mask thing is kind of tough because unintentionally I kind of started to do a little bit of lip reading. Usually it's a female voice and it's just a certain frequency that I just can't hear. My auditory nerve is dead for that frequency. So if I ask you to speak up because of the mask situation, please don't be offended. I just need you to talk a little louder. They're really, really good, but every once in a while. These are the only shoes I wear, and I know they don't go with a lot of stuff, but when I was in the military, I had knee surgeries. I've had problems with arthritis in my hips, and my foot doctor said, you wear these shoes, you'll be able to walk when you're 65. I want to walk when I'm 65, so I'm wearing these shoes. Now, they looked like that for 10 years. And then finally, this last summer, they've changed the style. Look at that, there's stripes on them now. Ooh. But they really are the most comfortable shoes ever. Let's see. In class, we know from the brain that there are two chemicals that occur either when we're really happy and things are going well, and that's dopamine, or when things are not going so hot, and that's cortisol. And cortisol stops learning. Now, there are things that key your body to release cortisol, and those things have to do with being uncomfortable. So, somebody says something, and you take offense to it, but you don't say anything because, that's just the way we are in Minnesota. When that happens, your brain releases cortisol, and you're not able to learn. So, that's not okay with me. I want everybody to be able to learn. So my classroom rated G, which I think in the past 15 years there probably has not been one movie that's come out that's been rated G. Usually PG is about as low as they go right now. We want to say things that nobody around us could possibly take offense at and focus on the math. That's what we want to do. And then the last thing would be, in the last 2 years, I have developed a condition called dry mouth. The mask is making it worse. So I usually take little sips of water, every now and then, so I don't have a coughing fit. But with the mask, it may happen every now and again. I just take little sips of water, suck on cough drops, and hope that it gets better after a little while. But I think it's a little bit worse this year, because I don't know about you, but the past 6 months when we've been on quarantine, I haven't really been talking. You guys feel that way? Have you been like on the phone and texting and stuff and not really talking a lot with people? So I think that has a little bit to do with it too. But we're going to have a good time. We're going to learn stuff regardless of what happens with, COVID-19 and all that. Just keep working to the best of your ability. We've just got to make do like we did last spring. And hopefully, in a few months, we'll be able to say it's gone. Let's all go back to school. That would be great. But like I said, it was really disheartening that Eau Claire is quarantining all of their students today. Because we could go the other way too. It could be that, you'll get a message one day that says we have to go to complete distance learning in the Elk River School District. So I know it's hard not to walk with your friends in the hallways and stuff, but boy, is that ever the safe thing to do right now. Use that 6 feet of distance between people and make sure you're wearing your mask. And if you see people clumping up, don't be afraid to say, "You're clumping, stop it," so that we can make sure that everybody stays safe. That's far more important than not hurting somebody's feelings. So stay safe.